All right, so recently we've had the whole FTX collapse. I'm sure everyone's heard about it at this point, and if you haven't, then you're not really paying attention. But I wanted to talk about this because this is another testament to the importance of the points that I've been bringing up, and there's other people as well. And the first one is you can't be trusting these centralized exchanges, number one. And number two, you can't be trusting centralized coins, right? I've said it time and time again. I used to kind of disagree with this, but I think that over the last year, this has just been proven more and more right. Um, we need to stop trusting exchanges, right? I mean, look at what's happened with FTX, with BlockFi, Celsius, the list goes on and on and on. So the first one is, for the love of God, get your coins off exchanges. You need hardware wallets, right? And that brings me to the other point. Um, Centralized coins will not last, right? Something that I think is I'm surprised it's not talked about more, to be honest, but I think it's inevitable. I mean, it does exist to some degree, but we are going to see more regulation in the crypto space, right? The whole FTX thing shows this, right? That you had, I mean, the guy was laundering money. I mean, there's politics involved with it as well, but that's not the point of the video. Um, Obviously, like crazy stuff, and I'm not even going to get into it because it's not worth it. The point is that it's going to be regulated, and what happens when it's regulated? Well, the coins that are not decentralized will be the ones that will get hurt the most, right? Which coins are the ones that are regulated or can be regulated? Well, it's virtually every single one, right? If your coin is proof of stake, it's going to be regulated, right? ETH, Cardano, XRP, going to be regulated. I mean, look at the lawsuit with the SEC with XRP, right? If it has a CEO, it's going to be regulated, right? Um, and again, which coins don't fall on this list? Bitcoin, Monero, Pirate Chain, like honestly, off the top of my head, those are the only ones I can think of. And you probably can't even point out more than you can probably count on one, maybe two hands, the amount of coins that truly are decentralized in that the government cannot directly regulate them, right? Because when it comes to Ethereum, well, you can only, like Ethereum, you can't hold your private keys and stake unless you have, what is it, like 32 ETH or something? I don't remember what the exact number is. And again, virtually no, like your average Joe, virtually no one has 32 ETH, right? So that means that you have to outsource it, right? And when you outsource it, you have to do it in two ways, right? You can do it through an exchange, or you can give over your private keys to these staking pools or whatever, right? Those can be very easily regulated because the other problem with ETH is that it's very hard to run your own node, right? And because of that, that is outsourced to things like Infura, right? Which is a corporation, right? Which is run by, I forget the guy's name, right? Um, but again, this is the problem with these coins, right? Again, like I said, the only ones that aren't going to get killed when this happens are the Bitcoins, the Moneros, the pirate chains of the world, right? Again, the Monero pirate chain fans like to hate on Bitcoin, but again, I believe the reality behind it is that if you can't convince the masses to adopt Bitcoin, you're not going to convince the masses to adopt Monero. It's just not going to happen, right? And again, if you look at the space as a whole, over the long run, the space goes in the direction of Bitcoin, right? If Bitcoin's going up, the vast majority of other coins are going up, and vice versa, right? Um, and again, we've seen this, right? I mean, look at. I mean, if we look at a coin like Solana, this was, I believe, that the third, maybe fourth highest market cap coin at one point, and again, it's all the way down to 15th. Now this coin peaked out at like $250. It's down to 1278. It's down like 95%. So again, I can't stress this enough. If you are going to put money in crypto, again, obviously my opinion here and everything, um, Number one, only put your money into truly decentralized coins. And again, that list is very, very short. And it starts with Bitcoin. And on top of that, you need to hold your private keys, right? And this is one of the reasons why the space has suffered so much, I believe, is because you have too many people that are chasing this get rich quick garbage, right? With Solana and ETH and Cardano, and like Cardano honestly is the best of them, because Cardano you can actually hold your private keys and stake at the same time, right? So Cardano is better than ETH, but again, it's still heavily centralized, right? I mean, Hoskinson basically calls the shots, right? And again, I don't know, like if all of these guys, Vitalik, like I don't know if they're bad or not for sure. Like I really don't. But the one thing I do know is that if you have one guy or a corporation that calls a lot of the shots, the government's going to regulate it, right? It's inevitable, right? So people need to get this through their heads, right? And again, we got to stop chasing this get rich quick garbage, right? This is another thing that, you know, when I talk to people about investing and stuff, it's like, oh, do you trade? Do you day trade? Like, are you into penny stocks? Like all this garbage. It's like some people can do that, but if we want, if you want to be successful long term, you're not going to do it day trading. At least the average person, right? You're not going to do it by trading, trying to get these get rich quick, you know, Solanas of the world, right? The way to do it is simply get a hardware wallet, buy Bitcoin, maybe a little Monero, Pirate Chain. Again, my opinion. Um, and put your coins in a hardware wallet, right? It's not complicated, right? And the reason why the space has suffered so much, like I said, is that people are wasting their time on these garbage centralized coins, right? So that is the way to fix this stuff, right? Because regulation is coming. It is guaranteed. And people think that Bitcoin can be regulated, which it can be indirectly regulated, right? It can't be directly regulated, right? I can send Bitcoin to whoever I want, right? The only way that it can be if I hold my private keys. If you have your coins on an exchange, yeah, it can be regulated. But if you hold your private keys, you can send it to whoever you want, right? And not only that, you can do it anonymously if you are willing to take 5 minutes to figure that stuff out, right? The only problem is the trying to cash out, right? Because vast majority of exchanges have KYC, which means it's impossible to get around that kind of stuff, right? So the problem with that isn't the fact that Bitcoin can be directly regulated. The problem is the on ramps and the off ramps. But that's a problem with everything, right? That's a problem with everything, right? I mean, if I want to cash out my Monero, you still got to do it the same way. Now, again, it's easier to transact privately. Yeah, I'll give them that. But again, like if I buy my Bitcoin on a KYC exchange and I send it to a Lightning wallet and then I send it to a different wallet, yeah, you can trace that stuff, but there's also coin joins, right? There's ways to buy things anonymously. You can simply, you know, convert it to one of these other coins and convert it back, right? I mean, the minute that you convert it on a decentralized exchange, I mean, there's exchanges that don't have KYC that you can convert this stuff. Like, there's many ways around this stuff, right? And again, I'm not saying people break the law, right? I'm not advocating that, but what I am saying is that um, none of the arguments against Bitcoin hold any water, in my opinion. Right, the best one is the privacy one, that Monero has an advantage over. But like I said, if you can't convince the masses to adopt Bitcoin, you're not going to do it with Monero. It's just not going to happen, because let's just say you do start to gain some steam there. The government's just going to go after it 10 times as hard, right? I mean, you think that it's good. Oh, the Bitcoin, it's only used by drug dealers and criminals. Like they would 10x that propaganda if Monero started to gain hold, right? So again, just my 2 cents on this whole situation. So if you like the video, hit that like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more.